Hello, and a warm welcome to Reddit Echo.
We talk a lot about fear on these channels. Fear of the dark, fear of the unknown, fear of things that go bump in the night. But the most profound, the most paralyzing fear I have ever experienced had nothing to do with ghosts or monsters. It happened under the sterile fluorescent lights of a bar parking lot, and it was dressed in the uniform of my best friend. This is a story about the weight of silence, the scars of war that aren't always visible, and the night I had to fight for a life without firing a single shot. A few years back, I was serving in the army. You build a different kind of bond in the military. It's thicker than blood, forged in shared hardship and an unspoken understanding. My circle was tight, but at its center was Bill. To describe Bill, he was the guy, the one everyone wanted to be around. He had a contagious laugh, a confidence that made you feel safe, and a genuine, deep-down goodness. He was the best friend I'd ever had, the brother I chose. Then we lost Charlie. Charlie was one of ours. He'd taken shrapnel to the leg in Iraq, an injury serious enough, but he'd pulled through. We'd all breathed a sigh of relief. So, when the news came that he was gone, it hit us like a freight train. His death was off the books, a personal tragedy that I won't detail out of respect. But for Bill, it was a cataclysm. The light in his eyes, that unwavering confidence, it dimmed. You could see the fracture lines spreading under the surface. A week or so later, Charlie's family flew out to our post. We organized a small informal memorial at a local bar. It was one of those gatherings where the laughter is a little too loud and the silence between toasts is a little too heavy. Since I was still under 21, I was the designated driver, the sober anchor in a sea of grief, and Bill was drowning. I watched him from my stool, nursing a Coke. He was at the center of the room, doing shots, downing pitchers, accepting every drink offered as if he could wash the pain away with cheap beer and whiskey. But with every drink, he didn't get louder or more boisterous. He got quieter, more withdrawn. The easy smile was gone, replaced by a grim 1,000-yard stare that seemed to look right through the people clapping him on the back. By 1 a.m., the crowd had thinned. The air was thick with smoke and sorrow. Bill slid off his bar stool and walked over to me, his movements deliberate but unsteady. "Hey man," he said, his voice low and gravelly. "Come outside with me while I smoke." We stepped out into the cool night air. The parking lot was mostly empty, lit by a single, flickering sodium vapor light that cast long, distorted shadows. He didn't light a cigarette. He just sat down on a cold, concrete parking block, his head hanging low, his elbows on his knees. The silence between us was a living thing, heavy and suffocating. I stood there, waiting, the pit in my stomach growing with every second. Finally, he spoke, and what he said, the way he said it, will be etched into my memory until the day I die. It wasn't hysterical. It wasn't a cry for help. It was a flat, calm, terrifyingly matter-of-fact statement. "Your name," he said, still staring at the asphalt. "After I go home tonight, I'm going to kill myself." Time stopped. The world narrowed to that parking lot, to the yellow light, to my best friend delivering his own death sentence, with the casualness of commenting on the weather. It was the most scared I have ever been in my entire life. My heart didn't just race. It felt like it was trying to tear its way out of my chest. I dropped to my knees in front of him. "Bill, no. Look at me, man. No, you're not." My voice was shaking. I started talking, the words tumbling out in a desperate, frantic river. I talked about his family, about our friends, about the future, about how much he meant to me. I was begging. I was pleading. He just shook his head, his eyes still empty. You don't get it. I hate myself. I can't live with this thing inside me. It's the only way. The fear turned into a white-hot, panicked anger. I couldn't reach him with words. Without thinking, my fist clenched, and I hit him. Not hard, but an open-handed slap across the face, a desperate physical attempt to shock him back to reality. Snap out of it, Bill. Don't you say that. Don't you dare. That broke through. He looked at me, really looked at me for the first time that night, and the dam burst. He started sobbing. Great, heaving sobs that racked his entire body. We were both crying now, two soldiers brought to their knees, not by an enemy, but by a pain that no weapon could fight. The commotion drew attention. My squad leader, a good man, came out to see what was going on. Everything all right here, soldiers? He asked, his tone firm. In that moment, he was a threat. He was protocol. He was the chain of command. He was someone who would take Bill away and file a report. I looked up, tears streaming down my face, and snarled the only words I could muster. Fuck off. Just fuck off and leave us alone. I had never, ever spoken to an NCO like that. But in that moment, Bill was my only concern. The mission was him. Miraculously, he understood. He backed away. A few other brothers from our unit, who had seen what was happening, came over. They didn't try to cheer him up. They sat with him. They listened. They let him talk. Let him pour out the poison that was consuming him. It wasn't a magic cure, but it was a pressure valve. After what felt like an eternity, the storm inside him seemed to subside into an exhausted calm. I helped him to his feet. Come on, brother. I'm taking you home. The drive back to the barracks was silent. My knuckles were white on the steering wheel, my entire body wired with adrenaline and terror. I wasn't just driving a car. I was transporting the most precious, fragile cargo in the world. We got to his room. I walked him inside. My mind was racing. How do I keep him safe? How do I make it until morning? My eyes landed on his closet. It was a walk-in, empty save for a few uniforms. I guided him inside. Get in, I said, my voice gentle but firm. He was too exhausted, too broken to question it. He lay down on the floor. I closed the closet door, sat down with my back against it, and prepared for the longest night of my life. I didn't sleep. I listened to every rustle, every breath, every shift in his weight on the other side of that door. I was a human barricade, not against an external threat, but against the enemy within my best friend. Morning finally came, light filtering under the door. I heard him stir. I opened the closet door. He blinked, confused, looking around at the hanging uniforms. Dude, he said, his voice hoarse. Why was I sleeping in the closet? I looked him dead in the eye. Because last night, you told me you were going to kill yourself, and I wasn't going to let that happen. I told him everything, the parking lot, the tears, the punch, the drive home. And you, I finished, my voice cracking with a mix of exhaustion and fierce love, are not drinking for a very long, fucking time. He just nodded. The understanding and a flicker of shame dawned in his eyes. That's my story about fear. It's not about your own life. It's the sheer, unadulterated terror of seeing a shadow fall over someone you love and realizing you're the only thing standing between them and the abyss. It's a fear that doesn't fade with the sunrise.
Don't want to lose this channel and always be up to date with new videos? Then make sure to subscribe. The story continues, and it's only getting more interesting.